Hey gang, how's it going? Welcome to this next episode of The Rolling Stone. If you've been around the channel before, and especially if you're a subscriber, first of all, thank you very much. You kind of know the difference by now between these videos and the videos that I release on Tuesday. And if you're new here, if this is your first time on top of the stone, first of all, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. You won't see very many clips or cuts in these videos as opposed to my videos on Tuesday. These are more stream of consciousness videos where I give my initial thoughts and opinions about items that are currently in the news. So with all the preliminaries out of the way, let's dive right in. And the first thing that we have to talk about is the Vox ad-apocalypse. So Carlos Maza, he is a writer and video creator for Vox Media, and he has been on a crusade to get YouTube to deplatform Steven Crowder, who is the host of Louder with Crowder on the Blaze TV, and which also airs on Facebook and YouTube. And Maza has been on this crusade because he says that for the last 2 years, Crowder has been relentlessly attacking him, specifically because Maza is a gay Latino. So, of course, the not very subtle implication is that Crowder is engaging in homophobic hate speech. Okay? And just a quick side note here, from the little that I have seen, heard, and read, it is true that Crowder has targeted Maza for a lot of rebuttals and a lot of attacks, but it's always been to attack the ideas that Maza has espoused on Vox. He has never attacked him specifically for being a gay Latino. He has framed some of his jokes and barbs against Maza around being a gay Latino, but then again, Maza has chosen that that is how he is going to identify in front of the public. That is part of his brand and his public image. I mean, his Twitter handle is gay wonk, so it's not like he's trying to hide it. It's not like, you know, nobody knows about it. He identifies as this, and so jokes are going to be made at his expense, and they have. But to get back to the story, YouTube released a statement earlier this week and said that after reviewing the flagged videos of Louder with Crowder, they concluded that Crowder hadn't violated any of their terms of service, any of their community guidelines, and so they were not going to deplatform him. However, just a few hours after releasing that statement, they released another statement saying that upon further reflection about Crowder's behavior and upon further consideration of the harm that Crowder had done to these, minority communities on Facebook, they were going to demonetize him, meaning that Crowder can no longer make money specifically through his YouTube videos, right? People watching his videos and ad revenue and things like that. He's no longer going to be able to do that. And even more importantly, YouTube said that they were going to be changing, making some changes on their platform. So first of all, if you are, if you engage in extremism, if you engage in hate speech, quote unquote, whatever hate speech and extremism is, they said, you're going to be demonetized, you're going to be deplatformed, people aren't going to be able to make comments on your videos. But, and this is the part that really interested me, gang, they said that now they were going to actually categorize some videos as being borderline videos that don't break their community guidelines, they don't break the rules of YouTube, but they just come a little too close to that line. And when these borderline videos are uploaded, YouTube is going to counter those videos with other videos from quote-unquote legitimate and authoritative sources. And let me take another little side note just to kind of explain how YouTube works. If someone posts a video that gets a lot of traction on YouTube, it's ranking, a lot of people are watching it, and it has a lot of steady watch time, so people don't just click on it and then click out of it after 3 seconds. They watch 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes of it. If a lot of people interact with it, whether it's leaving a comment, leaving a like, leaving a dislike, that triggers the YouTube algorithm, and it says, hey, you know what? This creator put up a really good video and that a lot of people are watching it and a lot of people are interacting with it. So they will actually promote other videos by the same creator in the watch next list. You know how you're watching YouTube on a laptop, on a laptop, and on the right hand side of the screen is the watch next list. If you look at that list when you're watching a popular YouTube video, you'll more often than not find other videos by that same creator because YouTube is promoting that creator because they know that people like watching their videos. That's no longer going to be the case. YouTube is basically changing its algorithm in order so that if these borderline videos are uploaded, videos by that same creator aren't going to be promoted. It's going to be videos saying the exact opposite of what that creator is saying if they come from legitimate authoritative sources, whatever that means. So that's the very first thing to take away from this. YouTube is going to change its algorithm so that even popular creators are not going to be promoted within the platform, which is, first of all, just scummy towards YouTube. First of all, because YouTube claims that it's a platform, a free speech platform where if you don't, engage in these specific activities, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So first off, they're lying. Again, big shock. But then again, the whole point, the angle that YouTube has is if a creator gets popular, right, he's going to draw more people to YouTube. More people will come in to watch his content. And the more people that are coming in, the more people who are watching YouTube videos, watching more of one specific creator's videos, or, finding other creators to watch their videos. The bottom line is that more people spend more time on YouTube, which is good for YouTube because that's how they make their money through ads, etc. So YouTube is actually dispensing with that, saying, heck with that, we are going for ideological conformity. And that's the second point and what they're really going for. Because first of all, what the heck is a borderline video, right? To my mind, you've got the thin red line between, the rules and then breaking the rules. And as long as you stay within this side of the line, you should be good. You can get close to the line, you might get right up against the line, but if you're not breaking the rules, you shouldn't be punished. And don't misunderstand me here, this is actually punishment, right? Because if YouTube deliberately doesn't promote you just because even though you're not breaking the rules, they don't like what you're saying, that is punishment because fewer people will watch a creator's videos. Fewer people will find you, fewer subscribers, fewer watch times. YouTube will be able to pretty much keep these people obscure, and therefore the ideas that YouTube doesn't want people to hear, they are going, basically just to be, put in the closet and allowed to gather moss and dust. That is the thing. And so what this has done is that YouTube has really shown its hand. They don't want creators to become successful. They don't even really care about the money anymore. They want ideological conformity, right? Even though you're not breaking the rules, if you engage in what we could call questionable ideas, questionable speech, you are going to be punished. And this was made even clearer when YouTube said that they would continue to reward, good creators. So there again, we have a caste system, right? I'm not saying that I'm not saying that all ideas are equal because some ideas are definitely better than others. But the arena of ideas exists so that these ideas can battle it out and so that the truth can win out. What YouTube is just saying is it's arbitrarily saying, nope, these ideas are right by virtue of our ideology, and so these are the ideas that are going to be promoted here. Nothing else that, strays from the postmodern leftist ideology. And so, as we've discussed before here, this destroys free speech, it destroys free thought, it even destroys, equality, because basically you're saying, okay, you know what, we're not going to give people an equal shot at, defending their ideas, proposing ideas. No, we've already decided what ideas we want to hear on this platform, what ideas we want you to hear. And that's the real point. YouTube has made itself the arbiter of what you should hear and what you should watch. And if you stray from that, well, tough. They know better than you. You want to watch these videos, not these videos. And so YouTube really wins the Technological Olympian Award, right? They are our masters on the technological peak of postmodern Mount Olympus, and all that they say must be done. And it's going to be really, really interesting, not only to see what happens going forward, but how people are going to react to that. But that's our very first story. Our second story has to do with, guess what? Abortion again, and Miley Cyrus. I have never been a fan of Miley Cyrus after she shedded the whole Hannah Montana thing. I remember Hannah Montana when I was in college. Never listened to her again because, you know, that was what preteen girls were into when they weren't gagaing over Justin Bieber. And then when she quit the Hannah Montana thing and went full Miley Cyrus, I just thought, wow, I'm not interested. Thank you very much. You know, apparently Liam Hemsworth is into that sort of thing, or he can look past all that and still love her, which means that he's a much better man than I am. But specifically what happened this week is that Miley Cyrus made a post on Instagram where she announced that she was partnering with Planned Parenthood. And her post was her licking a cake that said abortion is healthcare. And I said that I don't do a lot of clips or cuts or anything like that, but this is something that really has to be seen to believe. This is the post that Miley Cyrus put on Instagram. Abortion is healthcare. In other words, abortion is just like cake. Now, my friend, Michaela Bearpaw, and if you are not following Michaela here on YouTube or on Instagram, you really, really should, because she posts great content. So I will leave a link to her YouTube channel in the description box. But Michaela made a quick change to that. She doctored her post, Miley's post, to make it look like this. Yeah, which really, you know, gets the truth out there. You know, kind of shocking, but then again, you know, sometimes people have to be shocked with the truth. Now, a lot of people have said a lot of things about how, you know, this post was disgusting, it was, you know, diabolical, it was demonic, it was, you know, all sorts of things, all of which I agree with. I mean, even pro-choice people, I've been seeing on Twitter for the past couple of days, you know, even pro-choice people are kind of getting the willies about this, saying, you know, I'm pro-choice 100%, you know, women's body, women's choice and everything, but should it be celebrated like this? And they're actually being attacked. They are actually being attacked. Pro-choice people who have no problem with Miley's post are attacking other pro-choice people who are like, you know, guys, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Maybe an abortion is kind of, you know, a woman's right, but maybe it should be like a somber, sad occasion. And these other people are saying, you know, heck with that. You know what? Lick cake for all we care. It's great, man. You know, shout out your abortion and all that. My own thoughts about this are twofold. First off, I think that Planned Parenthood and a lot of its supporters, I think that they're scared. I honestly think, gang, that they're scared because we've had the pro-life laws passed in Georgia and Alabama, in Missouri, in Ohio. There's another one geared up to be passed in Louisiana. That one is a strange duck because it was written by a Democrat and it's going to be signed by a Democratic governor. So, I mean, there goes the narrative about only Republicans, I guess, or only conservatives, you know, wanting to control women's bodies and sexuality. But I think that Planned Parenthood sees this energy on the pro-life side. They see these threats to their livelihood as well as their ideology and their power. And so they are responding with this. Because when you really think about it, this post, Miley and Planned Parenthood's partnered post, it's not going to persuade anyone, right? Abortion is healthcare. That's an old chestnut, right? That's been repeated ad nauseum for years. So people who weren't convinced by that are not going to be convinced by it when it's written in icing on a pink cake that's being licked by Miley Cyrus, who's probably, twerking while she's licking it outside of the scope of the camera. So it wasn't meant to persuade, it wasn't meant to get people to think. What this was meant to do was to sort of rally the troops and basically say, you know what, a lot of this pro-life laws they're getting passed, and scary time, for women's choice and everything, but you know what, we are still on the right side of history. Because Miley Cyrus is promoting this. And Miley Cyrus is cool. And so, cool people promote cool things. So if Miley Cyrus is promoting this idea that abortion is healthcare, you know that it's cool. And that actually leads to my second point. I think that what this post is trying to do is also trying to still consciences, because at this point in 2019, gang, I don't care if you're religious, if you're irreligious, if you're non-religious, I don't care if you're Catholic or if you're Jewish or a Muslim or a Hindu or Buddhist or Zoroastrian or pagan or Wiccan, atheist, agnostic, I don't care. But at this point in time in 2019, we know as a scientific and philosophical fact that an unborn child is a human being and a human person. I mean, the logic is undeniable at this point. But that leads to a very, very uncomfortable position for the people who run Planned Parenthood and the people like Miley Cyrus. Because if you are faced with this tsunami of evidence, how can you actually keep doing what you're doing, right? Well, you have to basically engage in doublethink. You have to basically say what is right is wrong and what is wrong is right. And you do that by, again, putting it into this cover of coolness, right? We make it part of the pop culture. We make it part of entertainment, because nobody can be against pop culture or entertainment. It's feel good. It not only is it kind of light and fluffy and just fun, but the cool people, they're the ones who are into that. And again, the cool things are the right things in their minds, right? And so this is a way of stilling their consciences and making sure that the facts don't get into their head. It's like, nope, not going to listen to the facts because Miley Cyrus says that abortion is healthcare, and therefore I am still right, I am still justified. So I think that this proves, for as disgusting as this post is, I think it shows that Planned Parenthood and the people who run it, the ideologues like Miley Cyrus, I think that they're actually scared, and I think that they are also trying to ease their own consciences about this, because what better way to, say, no, an unborn baby isn't actually a human person than by celebrating an abortion as something that is so boring, right? That you just eat a piece of cake afterwards. It's really a brilliant strategy. You don't argue with further facts or logic, you argue with a feeling, as it were, right? Because if abortion is something to be celebrated, something to be happy about, right, with birthday cake, then those facts, those chains of logic, they can just slide off of that, slide off the icing, as it were. But anyway, that's that story. And our third and final story for this episode comes to us from Paul Bois, who is a writer at Ben Shapiro's site, The Daily Wire, where the postmodern Democrat Party has finally done it, and they have banished God to the outer regions, where he will be discovered at some point in the far, far future by Captain Kirk and the enterprising crew of the USS Enterprise, if, Star Trek V is actually a prediction of the future, and I hope to God that it's not, because it was an awful movie. But to get back seriously, The House Democrats have changed the oath, right, that witnesses take. If you're a witness and you're going before a congressional committee, of course, you're sworn in when you give testimony. And, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Well, so help me God has been removed from the oath. And instead, it's been replaced with under penalty of law. Do you solemnly swear under penalty of law? I do. And Representative Steve Cohen, who's a Democrat from Tennessee, he actually justified this by saying that, God belongs in the churches and the synagogues and the mosques. God doesn't have a place in the halls of Congress. Well, first of all, I just want to say, thank God that Representative Cohen wasn't there at the Continental Congress in 1776, You had Jefferson saying that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. You had Congress, authorizing days of fasting and prayer to beg God's help in the Revolution. You had also days of Thanksgiving when they called out for the people to thank God for some victory, or like, for example, when news came that the French were officially going to come to help the Americans. Thank God he wasn't there, because he just would have had a terrible time of it. He was going to try to convince all 56 members, what, don't you guys know that God doesn't belong in the halls of Congress? He belongs in the church, for crimini's sake. So first of all, thank goodness that he lives in the enlightened age that we do, instead of the barbarous times of 1776. But with all joking aside, gang, this again is terrifying. It's terrifying because think of it like this. And Representative Mark Long, I believe, I forget what state he's from, put it well. He said the phrase under God, so help me God, was put there to remind people that they are also answerable to a higher power. So even though, if you're on the witness stand, you might be able to commit perjury. You might be able to lie under oath. You might be able to get away with it. But only for a time, because if you swore before God that you were going to tell the truth and then you lied, that's kind of a big deal. And when you die and you're kind of facing judgment before God, whoever or whatever you think God is, there are going to be consequences for that. It was to remind people culturally that we are not the end-all and be-all, that there is a higher power above us. And whether you believe it or not, you could make the utilitarian argument that it was just good for society to remember that. So what is the message now that that has been replaced with under penalty of law? Well, this really replaces God with the government, right? Under penalty of law, okay? Who makes the law, though? It's Congress. So therefore, under penalty of law, under penalty of the product that is created by this body, i.e. Congress, specifically the House of Representatives, which just happens to be run right now at the moment since the last midterm elections in 2018, for the most part by postmodern ideological leftists. And so the message very clear is that government is God, particularly in the public sphere, in the sphere of government and politics and the public. The government is God and not God. God stays over here within the four walls of the church or the mosque or the synagogue. He doesn't come anywhere out here. Now, that is terrifying, gang, because if the government is the highest power that is there in the public sphere, does that mean that we're really equal? I mean, what happens to our natural inalienable rights that were given to us by our Creator? Do they just disappear? Are they now the product of government? Which means, can the government take them away whenever they want, right? If the government is the end-all and be-all, if the government is the supreme power in our lives, what does that mean when we divert from what the government says, right? if we divert from the government's ideology, in this case, postmodern, leftism, or maybe you're not, someone on the right. Maybe you're on the left. What happens when that rule stays, that the government is supreme, and, people on the right, the Republican Party, conservatives, libertarians, whoever, are in control again? Does that mean they are going to be able to bring you up, treat you as a second-class citizen, sort of make you into a marked man just because you don't agree with the government? Is that what's going to happen? This is terrifying, and this is why, this is the direct opposite of actually limited representative government. When the government basically takes the place of God, it has perverted the relationship between itself and its citizens, particularly in a Republican model like we're supposed to be under, right? Where instead of the government receiving its power from the people, i.e. us, and being answerable to us, the government now is the big kahuna. It is the power, and it is the master. We are simply the subjects. And if you go along with whatever the government says, you're sitting pretty, you're golden, you're great, you're fine. And when you don't, when you put one toe out of line, which is inevitable because, ideologies are, constantly changing. The core principles might be the same, but, they're constantly changing on the specifics and who can keep up with all of that. Then you are a marked man, and you will be brought before the throne of God. And this quite literally is tyranny. Forget for a moment everything that the ideologues on the left today say. Forget what they say about therefore freedom, therefore equality. They want everyone to be happy. They want to reduce poverty. They want to get rid of discrimination. They want to get rid of hate. They want to get rid of everything bad and basically make utopia. They want to do that through tyrannical ends, through tyranny. Getting rid of freedom of speech, getting rid of freedom of religion, freedom of association, getting rid of the almost sanctity of the vote, things like that. And what does every tyrannical regime have in common? They have to get rid of God, because if there is something above you, not only is that something that people can latch onto instead of you, but it's something that people can claim a loyalty towards instead of you. It's something that people can say, no, we're going to follow this instead of you. And how can you really win hearts and minds, right? When you're trying to compete with that. Really, really difficult. But anyway, I've been talking long enough. This episode has gone way, way too long. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy it. Enjoy life. Fight hard. And I will see you all again here on Top of the Stone on Tuesday. Ciao.